Over the past 24 hours, the news cycle has been dominated by the revelations about Scott Morrison appointing himself to 5 different ministerial roles. Talk about being a control freak. It's proving to be one of the juiciest stories in Australian politics for quite some time, but it all emanated from one book. Plagued by Simon Benson and Geoff Chambers, 2 of the top journalists at the Australian newspaper. Geoff Chambers joins me right now from our Parliament House studio in Canberra. Geoff, thank you for your time. You were given exclusive access and insights into the government's immediate response to the COVID crisis. You must have done a double take when you heard about the PM becoming a multi-minister.
It was pretty extraordinary, Chris. Look, he had his explanations for the reasons behind why he did it, and around health, his explanation was they had just enacted the sweeping powers under the Biosecurity Act, which did give Greg Hunt enormous powers. With Mathias Cormann in finance, they were printing money, and these support packages, multi-billion-dollar support packages, were flying out the door. So his explanation was that if one of those 2 went down with the virus, that he would be there ready to go. Now, we've subsequently learnt this week, in terms of the reaction, that I think the Australian public deserve the right to know, and his own colleague, Mathias Cormann, also deserved the right to know. And Scott Morrison acknowledged that this morning and apologised to Mr Cormann.
And so did Josh Frydenberg. But that explanation all comes crashing down when he adopts the resources portfolio and makes a decision against what would have been made by Keith Pitt.
Yeah, and look, Treasury and Home Affairs mid last year, that came out of the blue today. Subsequent to the publication of the book, I had heard these stories about resources, and in particular around the PEP 11 offshore gas project near Newcastle. And that all came about because Keith Pitt was very close to signing off on that permit. And Scott Morrison came under a lot of pressure from moderate Liberals in northern Sydney and candidates up in the Hunter and also Lucy Wicks on the Central Coast, who believed that that had to be stopped. So on the face of it, that was a political decision. And what I reported on Monday was the fact that not only did he take responsibility in April last year for resources, but he also took responsibility for energy, industry and science.
In general, looking at what you've written about what occurred behind the scenes, what else struck you about the government's responses that you didn't already know?
Oh, look, I think it's in a lot of the private conversations that took place, how these decisions were made, and they were really extraordinary times, unprecedented. We've heard all these words be used to describe the last couple of years, and the frustration from us in terms of writing this book is we all wanted the pandemic to end, but this thing just kept going and going and going. So you've got, the book looks at the pandemic management, but it also looks closely at the decisions around China and adopting that more aggressive posture to China. And, we obviously have had the May 21 election and we saw that emphatic result there.
It wasn't an easy time for any government, really, was it?
No, it wasn't. And, you look at National Cabinet and there was a lot of criticism of that at the time, but it seems like Anthony Albanese is picking up and running with it, because it really, there were reforms, and that is one reform, if you want to look at it, where it smashed that COAG model, which was just, didn't really get anything done. And so, look, for state, territory and federal governments, and for businesses and for people, it was a really challenging time. And there was lots of fights, lots of Barneys, plenty to write about. So what this book intends to do is just give the reader a forensic account of what happened over those couple of years, and they can make their judgment on successes, mistakes, and how those decisions were made.
But you've had revelations snowball. You may have to call for a reprint, Geoff.
Oh, look, hopefully. I think book sales are going well, but look, our intention was to actually provide that historic account, and and hopefully readers enjoy it.
Until you stumbled on a goldmine. Geoff Chambers, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And I should mention to our viewers, Plagued is out from today and it's in all good bookstores.